Alrighty, of course we got a train going by right now, but it's 40 degrees and I'm still very cold. So we finally, pulling out of my pockets to stay warm, got our oil control ring gaskets. So we're going to get these apart and get them installed. Pretty much just gonna do one side at a time, as then remove all the stuff, put in the gaskets, put it all back together, flip it, rinse and repeat for this one and that one. That one's front rotor, this one's a rear rotor. I need to try to remember that because they are, I believe they're balanced with the E shaft to make sure that they're actually balanced properly. So I'm gonna get this apart and we'll see what it looks like. All right, so there's 3 rings and 3 springs, but only 2 of the rings actually have a gasket on it. So like this one, I can actually see the color difference. Maybe this one was used up. Anyway, this one is the inside one and has the gasket on the outside. This one is the outside one, or technically the middle, and has the gasket on the inside. And the big old third one doesn't have a gasket at all because it's not supposed to. It's more or less just, I don't even know what it's supposed to do. I think it just kind of seals any of the combustion and the temperatures from it that actually managed to get past the side seals from cooking the gaskets. So we're gonna pull those out. We're gonna try to clean up the rings and as well as clean up the grooves, because you can see a lot of carbon deposits. This was the rear rotor. This was the one that had everything caked on it. Hopefully the other one's going to be a little bit nicer. Let's find out. I don't always have good ideas, but when I do, I'm really glad I bought replacements. This seal came out in 3 pieces. This one broke in half. I'm pretty sure if I wiggle it enough, it'll break into more. Yep, it's like a piece of spaghetti. So it is a very good thing that I bought the new ones, and I think that the ones I bought are upgraded. Actually, I have the package. I might as well just read it. I'm not going to be putting them on today because this place is very, or this crevice, 3 of them actually, are very hard to clean. Vitten oil ring inserts. I'm not sure what material Vitten is, but these are a different color than the, I don't even know what those are supposed to be, so hopefully that means that they're better. I think that they were labeled as an upgrade rather than an OEM replacement on Atkins' website. So, let me grab my little pick. This out here is where the bigger outer ring sits without a gasket. I finally got that cleaned up half decent. Yeah. This one is where the middle one sits with the O-ring on the outside. That only broke in half when I removed it. And then this one is where the oil control ring with the gasket on the inside sits, and that one broke into 3 pieces when I removed it. So this has actually been a very good idea. Unfortunately, like I said, this is a very difficult area to clean, but I think that's only going to be on this rotor because it is the one that was burning so much coolant. I'm also probably, since I'm going to do the Zone adapter upgrade, I've been researching it a bit more. I'm definitely going to run a thicker oil because the 5W20 or 30 that it recommends is only because it needs to be burned. So if I'm running a synthetic that's like 10W30, 10W40, it'll actually help the bearings and the mating surfaces in this engine a lot more. And since I had the Zone adapter, I can burn 2-stroke, which I actually have a bottle of Idemitsu over there. So that ought to work out well. I'm not gonna make you guys sit through me trying to clean through all these things. Basically, I'm just trying to take the edge of a, I'll show you on one of them, the harder edge on a towel, and just kind of force it down into this crevice like that, and then just kind of going around. Be pretty obvious if I leave behind any lint, and it's coming out looking like that. That's coming out looking like that, and we just did the middle one there, and normally it's black, so it's gonna take a minute. And even though it's 40 degrees, it's still extremely cold, especially touching the metal with my bare hands because I'm trying to work on cleaning up my gloves. So I'll see you in a bit. Alrighty, so maybe it's been a little bit since the last recording in this one, but oh well. So as you see, we have one rotor packed, and by packed I mean it has not only the oil control rings in, which, let me zoom in real quick, which were not only the most extreme pain in the butt ever, but I also ended up breaking one and had to trade somebody some spare parts in order to get a new one. Thanks to the awesome RX8 community for that quick turnaround. But we got the springs in here, I got the corner seals, and I got the side seals in. Well, of course, the corner seal springs and whatnot, but figure I'll bring you guys along for the ride on this one and get my stupid hairs off of here and show you what we're doing. So we already have the oil control rings in here. I'm gonna zoom back out and hopefully this will turn out nicely. So we're gonna take this and set it down on its side. We want to start this side down, gear side down. I'm gonna show you a trick I found out on why you wanna start that way. You want something greasy, like a physical grease. That way it'll hold all these parts in. I'm using Vaseline here, or specifically petroleum jelly. It's Vaseline. Hold on, I gotta set this down. Hopefully my phone doesn't get too oily because of that now. Oh, there we go. We got that tub open. So what I did for the other one, and what I'm going to do for this one, is I'm going to grab one of my, actually grab the same one of my Apex seals, and they just kind of come in here. It's actually about 30 degrees outside right now, so this, what do they call it? Petroleum jelly is a little thick, which is kind of what we want. We just need this in here to hold all the pieces together. Yeah, so we want to put some in first. Try to remember how to do this properly. And record. And think. Thankfully the brake clean fumes have gone down a little bit. Yeah, come on. There we go. Try to get it in the hole. And it's just a sufficient amount. We don't need to like pack it full of grease. Although if we did, it wouldn't matter because as you push the parts in to test that they're in properly, it would just push the excess grease or jelly out. Whatever you're using. I think a lot of other guys use, what is that, Hylamar? But that might be more for the gaskets than for this. So we got that grease in there, or jelly. Now we want to come over here to our pile of parts and we want to pick up our corner springs. Should have 6, 3 for each side. Yes, we do. They kind of only go in one way. Yeah, I'm looking at them to verify, but yeah, they only go in one way. There's no other way you could possibly orient them. So we're just gonna chuck one in, try to remember to make sure the camera's facing what I'm doing. Chuck one in. Now you want to come in here with your corner seal and just push them down in there and make sure that, here we go, you got the notch lined up so that way you can orient everything properly later. So we're going to go in here and check this one in. I think we're going to zoom in now. Yep, there we go. Trying to look through the camera to make sure you can see what I'm doing. But I think you guys get the picture if any of you are ever even going to rebuild an RX8. Part of this might be because I might do this again in the future. Because I'm probably going to sell this one for financial reasons, and then later on when I'm more financially stable, I'll buy another one and do all this over again. But I'll put more parts in it because it'll be the one that I'm keeping. So we got the corner seal springs in. So now we want to go and we want to grab 3 corner seals. And we want to put them, let's see if I can set this up right. You can see that shiny bit in there. You can see how that's a smaller hole, so we want to put the small hole down. Like that. Now we're going to pack these guys with grease, and we will be putting in, I don't know exactly what they're called. I'm just going to call them corner seal pegs. There's that one. Gotta remember to keep an eye on the phone so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So there's those two guys, and there are their respective pegs. Most of this is not going in any particular order. This is going to be a bit more difficult. Okay, I actually did that. I'm a bit surprised by myself. Got it. Use the pinky. Okay, maybe I can use the hole itself. Let's try that. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to get these guys in the hole, but I want my tool back. Gimme. Okay. This one is being a little bit less cooperative. There we go. We got the grease in there because when I put that peg in there, it's going to smush the grease out. Jelly, petroleum, whatchamacallit. It'll burn on the engine, and that's what we want. In the meantime, it's going to hold the rotors together. Alright, so there we go. We got the jelly on all of those. So now we take these up. We want to put it peg side down. Place it inside. Some of these are stubborn. Some are not. I think it kind of depends on how much I clean them up. and how straight I can put it in when I'm initially putting it together. There we go, that focused. Yes, it's not easy with a camera in hand. This is why I'm starting to realize why a lot of YouTubers, when they rebuild these, will pretty much stop recording at this point, or way before this point, and just kind of say, oh look, and now it's done. Okay, that was being a pain in the butt. We're gonna try this one next. Just need one of these to go smoothly, and then I'll just skip ahead. There we go. So that one popped in. Now we can take this guy, and we can bring him over here to the hole. It kind of feels like these guys are keyed on these holes. Might be because of the wear or whatnot. But find the way it goes in. Maybe put the side seal or the apex seal in a little bit to help it keep aligned. And then just wiggle it around a bit. Try to remember to keep the camera on what I'm doing. There we go. And that part is in. And now we can push it down. It's got a little bit of spring. And we can start recording into the other ones with a little bit more ease. Gotta stop it with my nose. Gotta start recording with my nose too, because this hand's covered in petroleum grease. So I got the other ones in, sprung them down, made sure they were springy. For the most part, it seems like they're gonna keep themselves locked in their little holes, which is great. And now we need to put in our side seal springs. So these springs have flat sides. Oh, gotta put this. You're not really gonna be able to see this, unfortunately, but they have flat sides and they have a really narrow edge. So if I can line this up with a nice background, you can see how that spring's kind of pointing down. We want that to point up. Can I do this right? You get like something camera? No? What do I need to do? Maybe you can see that. So we want that to point up when it goes down into here. So we're just gonna slide that in, and that's good. And we'll just verify that with the other ones. That's pointing up, and you want the sides to point up. I've seen some really weird reasons, and I've forgotten them already because they were really dumb. The reason you want these to point upwards is because you see it's going in here, and it's going to be at the very bottom. These can move around inside of this track. They don't fit the entire track perfectly. The side seals do, the springs don't. So you already see these corner seals have a little bit of spring, so there's a space under it when it's not being fully sprung or pressed in. So if those corners are pointing down and that's not all the way in and that gets shoved in there and then suddenly that has to go in, you got problems. You're going to flatten the crap out of that. You're going to flatten or probably crack your corner seal because those are actually cast iron. And if you're really unlucky, you're probably going to gouge the crap out of your rotor housing. Or actually, no, that'd be your iron because it'd be on the side. And if it breaks anything off, you're going to gouge the crap out of your rotor housing. So just make sure the wingtips are going up. You want them to fly, not to land. That being said, now that we have those in, we want to go and get ourselves some dollops of petroleum jelly or whatever the hell you're using. Lithium grease would probably work too. Honestly, you just kind of want it to be combustible. That way it has no problem when it's working in the engine. Probably for like your first mile, basically. After that, the rest of this would be flushed out with normal motor oil and burned up in the combustion chamber. So you want to put the grease in here. You want to kind of spread it through the track, or just, yeah, we'll call it a track for right now. I want to get a little bit more than that. This is actually my first time doing this, so yeah, I would rather be safe than sorry. And all this really is for, all of the putting the petroleum jelly or whatever grease you're going to use this for, is to hold everything in the rotor when you go to place it down onto the iron and when you place the next iron on top of it. Because you don't want anything to move. You want it to basically be perfect. You got to check it as you're going, but you want it to be perfect as you're going. Otherwise, shit's going to get fucked up. And you don't want that. Especially depending on how much money you put into this. And this is more or less the same techniques to people who build these engines for a living. And I'm talking like the big ass corporations and companies that do this and make the irons out of aluminum billets and whatnot. And even the rotors probably. I should look it up. I wonder if there is a aluminum billet rotor. That'd be cool as fuck. But it's basically what they do. They still can follow most of these processes because I use their YouTube videos to learn what I'm doing now. That's a bit much. There we go. Now we start in this one. I'm going to zoom out so that I don't have to try as hard to make sure that you guys are seeing what I want you to see. Try and get this caked in here. I'm hoping I remember to take a photo of what I did to get these control rings in, because this one was being excessively stubborn. I don't know if it was this side or the other side. I didn't pay that much attention. But what I ended up doing is spraying the O-ring down, because it was the technically the middle oil control ring on this one. I sprayed the O-ring down with WD-40, as well as the metal that it's going up against in the rotor. And then I placed that ring down on a solid table, and then I placed a board on top of the rotor, 2 50-pound dumbbells and another 20-pound dumbbell later, and it sat all day. Eventually I heard a thud in the kitchen. I was like, what the hell was that? Oh, right, I set up a system in there. I went and checked on it, and it was sealed. So if they're being really stubborn, maybe give that a shot. It helps if you start it cold and then warm it up. That way it's going through a little bit of thermal expansion during its process. This is probably enough grease. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a side seal. Almost dropped that. You'll see on here, especially if you're putting used ones back in like I am, because these are fine. There's, you see those shiny spots? That's where the springs were wearing in on them. So that side goes down, back against the spring, and that's that. The grease is going to hold it in place. I have all these oriented already ahead of time, so I don't have to worry that much about them. And we're going to get a solid test on this side after we're done with it to make sure that we did it right. Otherwise, it'll all fall apart. And that's why you see that socket there. If you've been following along, or you're doing this on your own as well, that socket is the 54 millimeter, was it 54? Yeah, 54 millimeter socket that you need for the back nut, which is right here. In spite of the fact that it looks extremely soft, it is steel, or at least iron. But that's the back nut on the flywheel side. That's what you need that socket for. Well, just so you're not wasting money only using that socket twice, if you're ever going to do this to one motor, pick the rotor up over there, take your socket, place it down right there. This is why we didn't want the gears down, because we don't want them to get messed up. And there we go. Try to align this better on that. And now you have a rotor stand, because if we just put that side face down on that table, the grease is probably going to adhere to the table a little bit too. And when we go to pick it up, we're going to lose side seals, corner seals, springs. They're just going to stay stuck to the table. As you probably saw when I took the motor apart, a little bit of oil was enough to hold them stuck to the irons. Sorry, out of breath. I haven't talked as much in a while, and it's cold. And asthma. I'm sure I could probably find 10 more excuses if I cared to look. So, we're going to do this all again. You already saw the process. This time it's just about, 3 inches taller. So, see you in a second. And that is both rotors packed. Something I did use to go along my way, and I hope I didn't get it wrong. These 13B Renesis rotors have a groove on them that's not from wear. That's cut for sure into the rotor casting, whatever the hell these are. But you see on this one, the groove's up top, and the gears on that side, the groove's up top, the gears on that side. When this is in the engine, they go this way around. See if I can use an iron here to demonstrate. Electric vehicle just passed by, scared the crap out of me. Hey! Oh, why are the irons so heavy? That's backwards, damn it. 1 second. Oh, there we go. Yeah, because the oil part's on that side. That was cold. So it rotates this way because it has to come through exhaust, come back up, and intake. That is a weird shape. Are these ported? That looks weird as hell. Huh. Oh well. We're gonna call it natural for now. Yeah, it's original casting right there. Okay, so I guess that's natural. At least it looks like it. But anyway, yeah. Rotates it so it comes around and exhausts and comes up. So this is the direction of this face, this top portion of the rotor. So when you're trying to put in the oil control ring springs, that's going to be your guide. That way you don't have to keep thinking about it like I do every 4 seconds because of dyslexia. You just say, okay, it's up here. Rotor goes this way. The spring piece needs to go down to fit into the groove and go that way up top, and that's it. So it's pretty nice to realize that when I was almost done. All that being said, that is going to be it for this video. Even though I've only been recording for maybe like 15 minutes today, I still have all the other recordings and I need to edit it up and whatnot. We'll probably get this out today. It's still a Sunday. So, thanks you guys for coming along for the ride. If you could leave a like, subscribe, or comment, I'd appreciate it. Anything you can do for the channel helps me put more back into the channel for you. I am out of breath. That a lot being said, I will see you next time. Have a good one.